Hey guys, what's up? BC coming back at you guys with yet another Transformers video review, and today we are going to be taking a look at PC09 as well as Combiner Wars Bruticus. You guys all know how this usually starts. I start with the little guy, move into the limbs, then we look at the torso. Now, where do I start? With the little guy. So here is said little guy. And as you can see, he is Shockwave. And you can clearly tell he's supposed to be some kind of spaceship thing, which we all know that in the original he's a gun. I love the fact that you have the option. You can either have him as like a battleship type deal, or you can flip this down and actually have him be the gun. Problem is with the gun, only certain figures can hold them. Specifically for my comparisons, here is Sentinel Prime. And I haven't actually fully tested this yet, but yeah, you can clearly already tell I mean, if you bend the fist in a little bit, you can get him in, but he holds him at an awkward angle. But say, for example, I don't know, this guy, a custom version of the FOC Optimus Prime mold. More on this in its own specialized video. As you can see, usual deluxe sized figures can actually hold this as a weapon. Of course, this figure was really never meant to hold a weapon of this size because this is a full figure and not just a weapon. So bearing that in mind, because I just love saying that, basically at this point, every single time I say bearing in mind, take a shot. Let's make it a drinking game, people. So anyways, moving on. Here is, there you go. There's Shockwave. I love this. I really do. I think it's a good looking alternate form. Transformation is quite... It's easy, but it's interesting at the same time. Basically, you're going to come to the front and you're going to split this entire piece open and not bust off his leg. Kid you not, that's the first time this has happened. At least for me. So let me pop that back on. So yeah, basically you split those, bring them all the way down like this, turn them around, and on these little breakdown-ish hips, bring his hips up, rotate them, and then flip down the feet. Then you come up here, split the arms, which kind of pushes this out, bring them down, and then bend them at that hinge to get the arms completely straightened. And then you just fold this completely back, snap it into place, and there is Legends Shockwave in his robot mode. And can you say proper Shockwave? I love this. I really do. Granted, I have mine kind of standing in a weird way. But there you go. There's a little Legend Shockwave. I love this. I really do. And just, I mean, just looking at the head real quick. I mean, look at that head. I mean, it kind of feels like the FOC head, but shrunken down to fit on this body. But even then, I love this. I don't know why. Just something about it. I love it. And now, keeping him in the frame and zooming back out, his articulation is it's a ball jointed neck. A ball jointed shoulder, ball jointed elbow, which you do have this joint, but it only moves backwards, so it's kind of useless. Ball joint at the hip, nothing at the waist. Thigh swivel, a really good knee bend, and his feet are naturally molded to where he stands in more of a normal position. And there you go. There is Little Legend Shockwave. Done and done. Now, moving on to, say, oh, I don't know, let's start with Brawl. Actually, you know what? No, we're not gonna start with Brawl. We're gonna do repaint / remolds first. Here is Blastoff, who is easily the weakest, like, of the two repaints. He is easily by far the weakest. Even though I'm happy with him, I still feel he's the weakest. But now, since we're getting into it, kind of moving Blastoff to the side just real quick so we can actually get a look at this. This is the PC-09 hands, and they are basically a repaint of the Optimus Prime upgrade set hands. I don't have that, but basically from what you can already tell, this has two separate gun forms. This is what I tend to call the sniper mode. And, you know, naturally, the sniper mode, I get the Blastoff. So, that's that. And Blastoff, as you can clearly tell, he's a repaint / remold of Quickslinger, who I reviewed, or at least went over in the Combiner Wars Superion check-in. Pull this off, and he has his regular little gun as well. Now, transformation, exactly the same as the Aerial Bot transformation. Now, I would hate on this a little bit more if I didn't absolutely despise the Takara Blastoff. There, I said it. I don't like the Takara version. Suck it. But yeah, anyways, you know, geez, man, relax, calm down. And my phone went off. There we go. There is Blastoff in his robot mode. And I'm generally okay with this. There's just one thing that I draw issue with. And that, my friends, is this. This would have been way more socially accepted if it would have been the Firefly head. If it would have been the Firefly head, this would have passed. This would have been perfect. Everybody would have been... I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have been a lot happier with this, but no. They clearly painted this to where, like, even though Quickslinger has the mouth, they clearly tried to set it up to where if you just ignore the fact that he has a mouth, it looks like Blastoff. But the problem is, this is the Quickslinger head, meaning he has a mouth. Blastoff didn't have a mouth. And that is honestly my biggest gripe with the figure. Otherwise, I'm perfectly okay with this. Articulation-wise, he is pretty much the exact same as all the other aerial bots. I really don't need to go over any of it with him. Here is his sniper and his other little gun, which clearly enough the tolerances in the hand have dissipated. But there you go. There's Blastoff. Now let's get a look at Vortex, which, before we go fully into Vortex, this is what I call, I guess I can call this the rifle mode, where instead of it being flipped over and having this down as a scope, it's flipped over and this is flipped down to be a different handle. As much as I want to say as much as I wanted to call it a shotgun mode, well, I guess I could call it a shotgun and just pretend that that's the stock. Whatever. Either way, I'm happy with this. Now, setting that off to the side, here is Vortex. And it's Alpha Bravo. It's literally a straight repaint of Alpha Bravo. So there really is no point in going over it other than the fact that it's painted into the proper Vortex colors. Who we all pretty much assumed with that head sculpt was going to be Vortex. We all called it. Every single one of us. So anyways, folding this up. Getting this off. Bringing this down. For transformation reasons. Because, you know, transformations. I found that the tolerances on Vortex, like on Blastoff, the tolerances on him are a lot looser than on, say, Quickslinger and Firefly. To whereas with Vortex, he is a lot tighter than Blades and Alpha Bravo. And the Stormbringers. The Stormbringers being the frickin' tightest. But yeah, you see what I'm saying. Anyways, turn his head around, and... Well, okay, I guess you can also... Stick on him a little, yeah. There he is in robot mode. And is clearly Alpha Bravo. But I'm perfectly okay with this, because this feels like Vortex. Like, I get what they were going for with Blastoff. They went with something where instead of having the shuttle, he was a jet. But they screwed that up when they didn't change the head. This, they didn't need to do any changes to it, which basically means for a straight repaint into Vortex, this is perfect. I vastly prefer this. Now, you can take this gun and you can store it back there if you so desire. Or if you really want to be weird like that, store it back there. But, you know, either way, set it off to the side because I usually give him his quote-unquote shotgun / rifle. And, of course, you can always have him dual-wield the weapons. And there is Vortex in his robot mode once again. This is a figure, or at least this is a mold that I have gone over already. So, there really is no point in me turning him or showing off the articulation when we already have seen it. Now, where do we go? I know where we go. We go with this, with the deal maker himself, which you can clearly already tell the massive chunk of death and destruction that is on him. Swindle. I'm surprised that he has not sold this off before I turn the camera on. Bad jokes. Bad jokes. I know. Now, of course, pulling those off, setting them to the side. He has the triple-barreled gun thing, and you can clearly tell he is a remold. A very, very heavy remold of Rook. I don't have Rook with me at the moment to do the full comparison, but, you know, yeah, it's the Rook mold. And that's not exactly a bad thing because I freaking love this. Like, I love the Rook mold. So naturally when I saw it as Swindle and as Hound, I was perfectly okay with it. So yeah, you get the idea, you know what you're getting into with this as well. So the transformation is very, very, very reminiscent to something we've seen already. Gonna bring this up. Unplugging this, bringing it out. Bring this up, bring this down. And then this comes up, folds down, and pegs in to be held in place. And there's Swindle in his robot mode. Now, one of the things that I'm going to bring up for the robot mode is there are these little nubs back here that can slot in back here. As you can tell, on Hound, it really didn't work out all that well because mine decided to be a pain. Here, it worked out pretty much perfectly, and he can do it no problem. But of course, I popped this off for reasons. You can pretty much already tell what I'm about to get into, because I pull this off and I leave it off to the side because he gets these gigantic things. So plugging them in, click, click, boom. Like, I just love the fact that, like, yeah, you can put these on them or on Onslaught, or hell, you could even be weird and put them on Shockwave. But, there we go. But, you can clearly tell that these were mostly meant to go with the legs. To go with the limbs that are meant to be legs. And this works out perfectly. Now, granted, once I did that, he started falling over. So, yeah. Whoa, jeez, buddy, come on. He usually stands better than that. There we go. Now he's standing up. So, yeah. Once again, mold we've already seen, so I'm not going to go over the articulation, and, you know, this can just stay right there. Now, the one of much controversy. Brawl. Would you be able to believe me if I said that of all the Combiner Wars Deluxes, he was my favorite? No? Figured. You damn G-Winers. Anyways. Popping this off, and, you know, once again, it's the same exact ordeal. I'm gonna split this in half now, because, well, reasons. Come on, man. There we go. So, yeah, now he has his, and here's the tank. And unfortunately, due to the way they set this up for its transformation, this does not twist. Oh well, I can deal with that. But, you know, as you guys already know, since this is a new mold, it means transformation! Tutorial transformation! Yay! Well, you can lift that up as well, and, you know, there you go, there's the tank. He's this weird brown color. And at first I was okay with it, but the more I looked at it, the more I'm like, this is not right. But, you know, whatever. His transformation, it's very, very reminiscent to any other Combiner Wars Deluxe. You're basically going to come back here to the legs, bring them down, and lock them in down here. Kind of lift this up to get it out of the way. Come in front of the tank, bring these bits out like this, the tank treads. Rotate the tank treads down like this. Just pull this out, bring it down, rotate it, fold it, and mine actually clicks and locks in place. Well, okay, of course, that time it doesn't want to hold in. Murphy's Law, Murphy's Law. Bring his arm down like this. Pop his head up, fold this back, and for reasons, I pull this off and then plug it in back here for storage reasons. And there is Brawl in robot mode. And, well, okay, let's also put these in his hands. And you can already tell, these were meant for Brawl. So yeah, his articulation is as such. A swivel at the head. He is the only deluxe that got... Well, was he the only deluxe that got... I'm blanking now. Did every other Deluxe get a ball jointed? Whatever. His head moves only left to right, and then has the rocker to look up. That's about it. He's got the shoulder joints. He's got a ball joint in his elbow. Ball jointed hips. Thigh swivel. And he bends at the knee. I'm happy with the fact that he's going to be nose cone for, oh god, what do you call it? Computron, but just, yeah, I got a lot of things to say about that damn Lyle Kaiser. But yeah, there you go. There's Brawl. Yeah. But now, we move on to the big guy, who is, guess what? A retool of Hotspot. Which we already know for a fact that I love Hotspot. So, naturally, I love this Onslaught. I'm perfectly okay with it. I think it's fine. I don't judge this because of the era it's being made in. Even though, personally, I feel the level of Revenge of the Fallen engineering would have come in handy with some of these combiners to at least toughen out some of the joints, but whatever. That's my opinion, at least. There you go. This whole top part, well, basically, if you looked at it from here, that's Hotspot's vehicle mode. They literally just flipped this whole thing around and put stuff on top of here and said this is the front of his. So, yeah, it's odd. It's odd. But yeah, transformation is pretty much exactly the same as that of Hotspot's. Only mine just does not like to actually disengage in most areas. Because F you, BC, we're gonna make you work for it. Additions is he has heals. This transformation element is exactly the same. Ow. But yeah, this is the transformation element that is pretty much exactly the same. This rotates completely around. He stands up. This comes up. Separate this, bring this down. Rotate, bring down, bring down. And you can bring this back. And I leave these back here because that's how Onslaught should be. Flip this open. There we go. And there is Onslaught in robot mode. I like it. There's really no other way to say saying it other than I freaking love this robot mode. I mean, there's enough remolding and different parts on it that makes it feel more and more like a different character, like a completely different toy. Even though the construction is exactly the same, there's enough here that makes him different from Hotspot. So bearing all that in mind, take a shot. There is the entire team. Size comparison for Onslaught, there is Sentinel Prime. Size comparison for all the deluxes, here is the custom. Or at least I can put the custom right there so you kind of get a better look at it. And I guess for Shockwave, no? Okay, never mind. Apparently I don't have any Legends figures near me. But there you go. There they are. Now, their transformation into the combined mode. If you've seen how Defensor combines this is somewhat the same. And I say somewhat very loosely. So basically, strip them all of their weapons. Just completely strip them all of their weapons. Pull the weapons out, put them all to the side. Because we're gonna deal with all of this later on. Except for Brawl's. Brawl's tank turret you're gonna put right back where it was. Gotta pull this off. Now, we're gonna do the legs first, because the legs are pretty basic. The legs, well, then again, actually, I think the quickest is going to be him, because we're actually going to turn him back into his gun mode. So, yay, you got to see me turn him back. Come on, man. There we go. Plug it together. Bring this down. Flip these out. Rotate. Bring it in. Rotate. Bring it in. Clip it together. And there you go. Right back into the gun mode. I'll show you what you're going to do with this in a second. Putting them off to the side. Now, Swindle, you essentially turn back into vehicle mode, but you do not flip up his bumper of death. Now, there are two ways to turn him into the leg mode. You can fold this up, or the head's not in the way. You can fold this up, peg it in there, and you can have that be the leg mode. But if you're like me, and you like the G180 of it, flipping this up, there is his leg mode. Now, of course, what I should have done putting these back together, and you can already kind of tell underneath these that there is extra padding up front here, so that there's less slipping. Plug him in, and there is his leg mode. So we got him done. Brawl. Damn it, Vortex. Stand up, man. Let's get all these guys to back up real quick. Brawl is literally the same thing, just change him back into vehicle mode. Mode for the time being. Except when you get him into vehicle mode, which is this. Granted, right now I got it as kind of a jumbled mess because I did it quickly. You're going to fold this up, break this, bring it down, and I completely forgot to mention that he has like ridiculously awesome ankle joints. Because he's got like 30 different pieces in here that make up his ankle joints. Which is like yet another reason why I love him as one of the Combiner Wars Deluxes. And pop him onto this. And there is Brawl. Well, flipping out his connector as well. There's Brawl in his robot mode. So now that you got that all done, these two literally aerial bot arm transformation. Vortex. Completely flip around, flip up the connector, and there he is. And then you find the left hand, and then you plug it in. I'm leaving it in a karate chop pose for now because, well, FU, that's why. Turn the other one into a hand. There we go. Same, it's literally the same hand transformation, so you're not really missing out on much. Now, for Brawl, I just take this and I plug it in right there. That's literally all I do. And for Swindle, I plug his thing on like this to cover his head, and then I take Blastoff's other gun and I plug it in right there. So everything basically has a place to go on these versions of the Deluxe. Anyways, once again, you know, Aerial Bot arm transformation. Come on, clip together. Come on. Rotate. Plug that into his hand, and there we go. Now, Onslaught is going to be quite the fun little thing, because, well, yeah. You basically... I am not doing that for the sheer sake of I want you to think that this is making me struggle. This is literally making me struggle. I'm not sweating, but at the same time I can feel myself starting to break a sweat. Don't know what that says about me, but you get what I mean. You flip his head back in, rotate this piece around, and then bring it back to where it drops in and locks into place right there. And then this whole piece will flip around onto the back like that, revealing the Bruticus head. Rotate these up like this, but leave them there, because then you're going to fold this up and plug it on here. Come on. Come on. There we go. Now this will rotate up. And one of the things that they actually did with this, fold down the crotch blade. Now one of the things they actually did with it, rotate this out. Now, BC, you can start talking. One of the things I like about this is the connection joints are right here. You slot these in, and instead of having the same defensor issue where you try to move the shoulder joint and that joint moves, these fins are actually incorporated where they lock onto the shoulders and keep them from completely destroying themselves. So there you go. Now you take Swindle, plug him in, take Brawl. For whatever reason, he's not wanting to go in. There we go. Plug him in, and kind of having to. I'll take this far. Rotate him to the back. And plug him in onto the back, because reasons. And there we go. Now, as you already know, these Perfect Effect hands have the articulated fingers, so he can assume many poses. There we go. Now, many of you have probably seen my Instagram update of Autobot Bruticus, where he has Hound and Swindle down here. That's an Evolutions thing. I will get into it momentarily. And there you go. There is Bruticus in his fully combined mode, and I think this is awesome. Like, just seriously. Like, of all my Bruticuses right now, he's not my favorite, but just as an official Bruticus, I fucking love this. He's big, he's brutish, he's just It's everything I would have wanted out of a Classics Bruticus. Granted, this isn't Classics, this is Combiner Wars or Generations, but you know what? I kind of like Optimus 0420 SL. I basically pit him with the Classics slash Generate. He's part of the Chug line, so therefore, for all intents and purposes, this is Classics Bruticus. For all intents and purposes, this is Classics Bruticus. And for Classics, this looks good. This looks really good. Now, granted, I only have the hands and feet. There is another upgrade set through Perfect Effect that gives him a new head, new cannons, and a gun stock that actually allows these hands to hold Shockwave. I don't have that yet. As you can clearly tell, all I have is the hands. Which, without the hands, I was not a huge fan of this at all because it was a wobbly mess. It was literally Menasor all over again. But once I got the hands and feet, I swapped all that out, and as soon as I plugged these new feet on and stood them up, his wobbly issue wasn't so bad. I mean, yeah, you know, he still got a little wobble to him, but it's nothing in comparison to what I had to deal with Menasor. Menasor was a mess. He is not a mess. He, I can actually recommend, because I actually really do enjoy Combiner Wars Bruticus. Now, of course, there are other ways of transforming him to where you actually have the light bars facing forward. But that just looks freaking weird, so I don't do that. And as you can clearly tell, he retains the same amount of articulation as Defensor, so he's got the shoulder joints, he's got the ball jointed neck, he's got the hip joints that come from Onslaught. And since there's just a tiny bit more play within Onslaught's hips, he can actually assume some really good poses. Especially, you know, like given the fact he's got knee joints, and the new feet have a ball jointed ankle joint, which allows way more play in the ankles to where you can tweak this a little more. Like, just bearing this in mind, mine has upgrades. If you are buying this and you are not going after the upgrades, you're going to be vastly disappointed. But if you're going to go in on this and you fully intend to get upgrades for him, personally, go for the Perfect Effect hands and feet. Because these help his stability. Because when I first went to go review him, I had a lot of bad things to say about him. And I'm not even going to lie about that. But now that I have the hands and feet in hand, get it? And I have the whole thing right in front of me without the new head and the new guns and the new gun stock. All in all, this is a good Bruticus. I mean, yeah, give or take, you know, there are some things people are not going to like, some things people are going to like. If you like this, get it. If you don't, you don't got to get it. And it looks as if his head came undone. Did it? Doesn't look like it did. Did it? Yeah, it did. There we go. Come on, big guy. There we go. There we go. So, with all of this said, I have taken out, well, then again, there are still other things that I can do. Here he is next to Sentinel, and here he is next to Deck Custom. So yeah, there you go. there you go. There's Bruticus. He's finally reviewed, and there will be a Bruticus check-in once I get the head. Once I get the new upgrade. Once I get the new upgrades for him. So, with that said, I have taken enough of your time. Stay there. This is BC Standard, and you get your geek on. I'll catch you guys next time.